let's spend a couple of minutes with Rick Fox, three-time NBA champion with the Lakers, now NBA TV analyst. It does certainly feel like the last few months flew by. It's back now or into opening night. As a former player and now a broadcaster, Rick, what does opening night mean to you?
Well, it means a number of things. Most importantly, it brings back a lot of good memories of the success we got to share as players on the Laker teams. But also in both of those, two of those three ring ceremony games, defending those championships we lost. So it also brings back the reality that November is kind of the beginning of a new season where anything is possible for anyone. And last year's success means nothing this year, and teams are about to find out, as well as the fans who made the most of their preseasons and who are most prepared to start the season.
The Cavaliers kept the bulk of that team together, both the core and some of the other role players. And guys like LeBron James have navigated this road before coming off of a championship. But how hard is it to keep that forward momentum, to carry it forward, to not have a letdown after you win a title?
Well, it is difficult in the sense that when you're hunting versus being the hunted, there's a level of anxiety and chase that you live with, and a hunger to become a champion versus now you are a champion, and everyone's patting you on the back the whole summer and singing your praises. Yet everyone has been off plotting and planning how to dethrone you. So I think you sometimes are rudely awakened to the reality of that when the season starts, and you get a sense that everyone night in and night out they really come to make a name individually and collectively as a team against your group, and that's going to be the case for the Cavs. Everyone has measured them as the champions and want to knock them off, and that's added pressure. There's no day or nights off.
It's interesting that you bring that up because when you look at the Golden State Warriors, they obviously had the pressure of chasing the record a year ago, plus they were the defending champs, so everybody is after them. They are the target on their backs. They bring in Kevin Durant, but they lose a bunch of their role players. So considering the transition they've gone through in the offseason, how do you measure this roster with the one that they had a few months ago?
Well, I'd start with the MVP and Steph Curry. That's a good starting point. And then when I add Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, alongside of him, I have to feel like that's enough of a core. And with Iguodala, the MVP of the finals the year they won it, that's a nice, strong group of players, veteran players that understand what it takes to prepare yourself through an 82-game regular season and then go forward throughout the playoffs to finish off champions. They've accomplished that, but they've also felt the sting of how fragile a series can turn and how nothing is guaranteed. So right now, I have to think they're as hungry as can be, probably as hungry as they were when they chased the first championship. And I'm looking forward to see how they respond to whatever adversity comes their way out of the gates, which I'm sure when you lose an Andrew Bogut and Harrison Barnes and Desmond Zazili and Leandro Barbosa, these are four key players that made the Golden State Warriors who they were the last few years, and that was depth that I don't think one player in Kevin Durant can replace. But we know what Kevin Durant brings to the equation as well. So where they've gotten stronger, they also have to find support in their bench with young players that have to improve.
Are they still the hunted, or are they now hunters again?
Well, I don't know if it's possible to be more hunted than you were as defending champions, but they are that this year. I mean, a lot of the talk is about the Warriors and not so much about the defending champions, the Cavaliers, who it should be about. But that's because of the star power they have, and coming off a 73-win regular season, where you look at this roster and you think, well, they may be able to match that. But right now, I think they're hunting and challenging themselves right now to find whatever chemistry and rhythm they're going to need. They're gonna. I know Steve Kerr and the coaching staff are going to be focused on making sure they don't run ahead of themselves and forget that it's a night night-out grind when you think about, a regular season of 82 games where you have to make it through with your health. You have to make it through on so many levels. You have to improve, even though they are the Warriors on paper. They're going to have to improve along the way here in this season to be champions again.
We're spending a few minutes with three-time NBA champ, current NBA TV analyst Rick Fox. It's After Hours with Amy Lawrence on CBS Sports Radio. How strange is it to see the San Antonio Spurs without Tim Duncan in their lineup?
Well, we're going to see. I mean, we'll see what it feels like. We'll see what they look like. I mean, we know what they've been like with a Tim Duncan, a lesser Tim Duncan in minutes and proficiency, but this is a new era. I mean, it's been 20 years where the San Antonio Spurs have lived with Tim Duncan in the uniform there, leading the way, and this is going to be new. So, Pau Gasol's a nice addition. David Lee is there. LaMarcus Aldridge. These aren't chump power forwards. These guys are some of the best power forwards in the game. So, I think there's enough there to fill in that void. It's just, will the leadership be there as well?
You spent half your career with the Los Angeles Lakers. It's a proud franchise. They have so many banners in their past, and yet these last couple of years have been really rocky. They've got a bunch of young pieces. Kobe is now retired. How close are they to being relevant again?
Well, if you're outside of L.A., maybe you're not as excited about the future of the Lakers as current Laker fans may be, because they're following them, day to day and watching the progress of these young players, hoping that, one or two of them emerge to a level of status that we've grown accustomed when you think of Shaq and Kobe or Magic and James Worthy or Kareem. These are legends of the game. So, there's a lot of pressure heaped on their shoulders to try and evolve to that level of success individually, but more importantly, collectively. This is a franchise of championships. And so when you ask me how far they are from relevance, the only thing that's relevant in this city is, are they winning champions? Are the Lakers winning championships? And I unfortunately would say that they're a ways away from that.
I had to chuckle a little bit on Tuesday when I saw that a ton of fans are taking this sneaky championship bet with the New York Knicks as potentially a sleeper to challenge for the NBA title. And I know Phil Jackson made a ton of moves and he put some pieces around Carmelo Anthony, but there's still some major risks involved with some of the older players. How much do you think New York has improved?
Sneaky championship contender would they'd really have to do a lot of sneaking. What I do see, though, is a vastly improved Knicks team and a playoff-bound team, barring any unfortunate health issues to the core four, which is Porzingis, Melo, Noah, and Derrick Rose. That's a strong four. When I talk about them, I talk about them as three MVP caliber level players in this league over the course of their careers, coupled with one that might grow into one in Porzingis. I mean, Derrick Rose won an MVP. Carmelo's been in that conversation repeatedly for years on end, and Noah finished fourth as recently as 2 years ago in the voting. So that's a nice place to start. And so if they can stay healthy enough, they'll be able to put together a nice 82-game season where they win 50, 52 games, and that's probably a fourth seed in the East.
Who are a couple of the other teams that you think might surprise fans and make some noise this year in the NBA?
Well, if we're in the East, from a surprise standpoint, people probably have recognized Indiana's growth. There's been some changes in the offseason there. I think they may surprise everyone by being a second or third seed in the Eastern Conference. I think they have that potential. If I go out west and think of surprising teams, I don't know if anyone will surprise you. Maybe Minnesota surprises you if they flirt with an eighth or seventh seed in the Western Conference and upseed somebody as a playoff contending team. But that would mean Tom Thibodeau and that youth, really came along in the off season, and that youth has risen to a level where they're ready to make their mark.
It's After Hours with Amy Lawrence. We're spending a couple of minutes with Rick Fox, former NBA player, three-time champ, as the league is now off and running into its new season. Before I let you go, Rick, one of the major storylines around the NFL so far this season has been protests during the national anthem to raise awareness about social injustice or to allow players to speak out, to use their platform for something other than sports. We don't know yet how many NBA players will get involved and will participate in protests of their own. But as a former player, what's your reaction when athletes do this?
Well, I think it's a natural occurrence when we think of each of these athletes as individuals who represent not only themselves but their teams, but are greater than their individual expression on the floor. I mean, their fathers, their husbands, their friends, they're in their communities. They stand for a lot more than their basketball skills, and it's no different than I think you find individuals who are out in the workforce that work for companies and take stands politically, take stands religiously, whatever they stand for in their own personal lives. I think they voice them some more than others, and professional athletes in general have a larger stage and get a lot more attention for it. It's, I think, how you do it, as long as it's respectful. I think everyone has a voice, and everyone has a right to be heard.
He is a three-time NBA champ, Celtics and Lakers veteran. You can catch Rick Fox on NBA TV throughout the season, including the NBA season opener on NBA TV Saturday night with coverage starting at 8 o'clock Eastern time. At Rick Fox on Twitter. It's always good to catch a couple of minutes. Thanks so much.
All right, you're welcome.